This morning sucked. I've got a sore on the inside of my lip. That's not helping anything. We're down 2 people on Savage. And work right now is being a nightmare. Ugh. It would have been really tempting just to frickin' just say screw streaming and just stay in bed all day. It's that kind of day. Regardless though, what's up everyone? How you do? How's it going? Let's just muscle through. Let's just hope things get better, right? Sitting around doing nothing all day is not going to help anything. You got to do something to make something, right? What's up, EB Guy, and what's up to all lurkers out there? How you do? How's it going? Not gonna lie, I kind of laughed at the FF13 restriction this year at the Fiesta. I thought that was gonna be a big deal. Turns out, it was a big deal. Turns out. But let's get started with this, shall we? I think we can probably knock out everything before Savage, right? If we run, hope we clear. Even with on PFs. Something cope. We'll see though. We'll see. All right. 3, 2, 1. Coming today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, NVIDIA is reportedly delaying all of their RTX GPUs by over a year. We'll talk more into that. The EU thinks that TikTok is too addictive. Want to know where they've been all this. Today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. That was too many fumbles. 3, 2, 1. Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, NVIDIA is delaying all of their RTX GPUs by up to a year and possibly even more. We'll get into more details on that. The EU thinks that God,
God damn it! Why can't I speak words?
I swear I passed English. 3, 2, 1. Coming out today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, NVIDIA is delaying all of their RTX GPUs by up to a year and then some. We'll get into more details on that. The EU thinks that TikTok is just a little too addictive. Microsoft is scaling back Copilot and their recall features, and unfortunately, but very predictably, Steam is delaying the Steam machine. All that more come today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. That wasn't so hard now, was it? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North 2 a.m. Good morning, this is Guys on Tech. Amigo Falcon. We got quite a bit to talk about today, and what's even better is that it's currently the Super Bowl. As I'm recording, the Super Bowl is currently happening, and let me tell you, I'm gonna miss it. The Puppy Bowl, that goes on at the same time. I'm gonna miss the adorable puppies. I am sacrificing my time to get much needed therapy by watching adorable puppies on a screen to deliver this news to you today. But I want to start off with something that's not very tech news related, but it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. I want to bring you over to Dexerto. Oh, Dexerto. Dexerto is occasionally a news source. I think that's the best way to describe them. Okay? The story does involve them, but let's back up a little bit. Okay? You may know in the tech space a YouTuber by the name of Linus Tech Tips, one of the biggest tech channels on YouTube. One of the biggest by far. Not even close. Okay? Lately, they have had quite a few on-screen personalities and writers leave and then start up their own channels. One of which I am actually blanking on the guy's name, and unfortunately the Dexerto article does not actually cover his name at all. Oh no, here we go. Jake Tivy. One of them goes by the name of Jake Tivy. If you've ever watched Linus Tech Tips, you've seen Jake around doing a lot of the like IT or very elaborate server setups, some of the crazier enterprise stuff they've done that's dumb. Okay? Now he's left, and he went ahead and made his own videos for a bit, and then finally put out a video that titled Why He Quit. And he cited a number of things. He felt that his job was getting a bit too boring in the fact that he's only doing like a set number of things. Felt that his wage was getting too stagnant. And one of the things that he said that caught everyone's attention was you kind of start thinking while you're working on your boss's third house if you're ever going to be able to buy a house. So he decided to quit and start up his own channel. Now, the tone and angle of it seem more of the structure of LTT becoming more corporate and less kind of freelancing it like they used to, while also not having his own paycheck grow as much as he'd like, looking for different opportunities, looking for a chance to get out there, stretch his legs, and try to do something else to shake up how things are in life. And that's totally understandable. Okay? enter Dexerto and the Twitter sphere. Okay. I actually want to find the Dexerto tweet that started this whole thing off, that actually brought me down this rabbit hole. Because, you know, employee being left, the employee leaving company to go pursue own interests, that's not a news story. Like, it really, really isn't. Oh, they deleted it. Whoops. All right, so they deleted the tweet that started this whole thing. Mostly because one of the things that Dexerto claimed, well, let's just bring up the article, okay? The article is titled Linus Tech Tips breaks silence after ex-employee's resignation video goes viral. Do you know what he said? What they claim the silence breaking was? Was posting a tweet jokingly saying that Linus is also leaving Linus Tech Tips, which then the link went to a Rickroll. Dexerto is trying to imply that this is aimed at the former employee. It's not. This was aimed at the nearly infinite number of other YouTubers trying to catch on a meme trend of saying why they left Linus Tech Tips, despite the fact that 99% of them never worked at Linus Tech Tips. Dexerto also then went to try and go ahead and imply that some of the silence breaking involved, quote, I'm curious if you're concerned that you might not be fun at parties, as well as also, I checked my wallet and I checked my bank account and I checked all 3 of my houses. There are no left in any of them. And then finally, maybe none of it matters and people need to chillax and enjoy content on both channels. Every single one of these comments was referring to something else entirely. Every single one of them. This one was referring to a random tweeter that was saying that the Linus Tech Tips WAN parties weren't going to be fun at all. This one was trying to imply that that Linus slowly was not giving an F anymore, and then sarcastically replying to that. And then this last one was, of course, just saying, hey, just enjoy the content on both channels. But Dexerto went out of its way to try and start a fire here, basically, on social media, and just blatantly spread misinformation on Saturday. And I have no idea if Linus has actually mentioned this at all on any of the programming. I don't think there's gonna be anything until this week. When does he record his podcast? It's like Fridays, I think. I don't know. I intentionally try to only catch clips of it because they're well after I record mine. And I know that there's no way then his podcast can influence mine. But no, this is absolutely wild. And I have not seen like this bad of blatant misinformation outside of the political space in a long, long time. Kudos, Dexerto. You are rivaling the levels of misinformation only seen by either MSNBC or Fox News. Take your pick. Let's get to some real tech news, though. Notepad++ was hacked. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. What's wild, though, is that Notepad++ has apparently been compromised for almost half a year. The attackers most likely being Chinese state-sponsored hackers, which is just wild to me. We're going through all this and really Notepad++? Nobody noticed anything? Really? Like, really? We noticed nothing going on? Now, of course, Notepad++, just being an offline notepad tool, I don't know if there's any online features that could have been compromised, but more likely than not, you're probably fine if you use Notepad++. Most likely, everything's gonna be fine. It's still wild that this even happened. But it is what it is. We'll get more details about the attack later on. Meanwhile, though, wait a second. Okay, there. I had to fix one little thing on the fly there. The iPhone is getting brand new privacy features in the next version of iOS. This is going to be 26.3. And basically the way it's going to work is that it is going to block a lot of programs from knowing your location. Now, let me tell you, as far as security goes, in my opinion, iPhone has Android beat. Hands down. Because it is rather comical how willingly and easily Android hands out your location. Sometimes it's helpful. A lot of the times it's creepy. What iPhone is going to be doing moving forward is that they're going to go ahead and make your exact location more vague for other applications. Exception to this, of course, are going to be GPSs. But all in all, I see this as a big win. Because quite frankly, we don't need more things going around and just casually broadcasting everywhere where everyone is. That's kind of ridiculous. So all in all, huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. Huzzah for the iPhone users. You go ahead and do what you need to do. And I can't wait for Apple to at some point in the near future completely ruin my statement about the iPhone being better for security and just blow that all away. I mean, realistically, you know what the best phone for security is? One that flips. If you really want to get down to it. And if you want more signs that Apple's got the better security, how about this? The FBI could not get into a reporter's iPhone because it was put into lockdown mode. The FBI raided a Washington Post reporter's home and seized multiple devices. And unfortunately, the FBI could not get information out of them because they were put into lockdown mode. This was specifically an investigation into the leaks of classified information. So, of course, the FBI is trying to get Apple to go ahead and decrypt these, but Apple is saying, no, I don't think I will. And that's where they're at right now. Whoops. So have fun with that. Meanwhile, though, in the NVIDIA side of things, we got bad news on top of bad news on top of bad news. To the surprise of, well, literally no one. We kind of been speculating this, but more information and more reports are coming out, specifically from the information that NVIDIA is skipping the refresh of the RTX 5000 series, no surprise, and delaying the next generation 6000 series until 2027. All, of course, due to the RAM shortage. Instead, of course, NVIDIA is going to be focused almost exclusively on our new favorite cards in the world, AI. To the surprise of literally no one. Oh, can the bubble pop, please? Well, all we can do is wait and see how this all goes down. Not that it really matters. Just about anyone who planned on building a PC has put it on hold indefinitely. And is just going ahead and getting whatever scrapyard they can go ahead and scrapyard PC they can piece together to just, you know, well, get it going. What else can they do? That being said, though, there's another push from Intel after they hired on a new chief architect. And their new push is to go into GPUs. Now, more likely than not, this move is going to be focused on enterprise and AI powered GPUs, but I think they'd be stupid to ignore general use and gaming GPUs as well. That would just make the most sense. Now they're going to do anything immediately? No. Odds are by the time they get off their feet and are able to start making AI GPUs, the AI bubble may have already popped. And the landscape will be totally different. So who knows? But more signs are pointing at Intel wanting to make a bigger push into the GPU space, which, you know, good for them. It's about time. Meanwhile, some bad news, surprisingly enough, for AMD. Now, I've been kind of ignoring these stories. There's been like a pop-up here and there, just like, a Redditor has found that their Ryzen 9000 CPU just fried. Oh no! Oh my god, another user found their AMD CPU just scorched. Oh my god. Like, I've been ignoring these just because they're one-offs. The details were vague. No one was sure what the heck was going on, but they're all just like, it's all ASRock boards. And it's like, come on, man. It's all a coincidence. And this one crossed my desk. 5 Ryzen 9000 CPUs killed in a single day by ASRock motherboards. Okay. Something's up. Something is definitely up. What was worse is that the little mini build I was unable to afford because everything's gone, you know, terrible, was actually going to use an ASRock board because it was the cheapest mini ITX on the market. Everything else was like 2 to 3 times the cost. Now I'm not so sure. Granted, I also planned on a 7000 CPU, not a 9000. But still. So, yeah, something to keep in mind if you're one of the lucky few who can go ahead and actually do a computer build. Maybe don't pair the highest end AMD CPUs with an ASRock motherboard. Something's up right now. What it is, I don't know, but it might be a good word of caution to maybe, just maybe avoid that for right now. And in other news, AMD is also planning on rethinking their design, moving on to Zen 6. So for the most part, Ryzen kind of started off with their chiplet design. And then every iteration of Ryzen after that has pretty much been tweaks on the same architecture. Zen 6 is looking to be a major overhaul. So this means one of two things. It is either going to flop hard, or more likely, it is going to be a drastic change and is going to pave the future for AMD CPUs. Which, hey, all the power to them. We'll have to see how that goes down. But of course, this is going to be a couple of years. This is going to be like a year or two out, which is good because no one can afford to upgrade their computers anyway, because it means buying more RAM, and you can't buy RAM right now unless you buy. I'm kidding. No one can buy RAM. No one. You know what the biggest problem was too? When it comes to building a new computer? There's a lot in the used space. In the used computer space, right? I'm not even kidding. There are pallets upon pallets of large workstation computers that are now worthless because they went and extracted all the RAM out of all the computers. So you've got these towers sitting there, 12 core, 16 core, 24 core, Xeon and Threadripper and EPYC processors, nearly worthless because all the RAM was taken out and sold separately. It is insane. So yeah, AMD's working on a new architecture. We're not going to see that until probably 2027. Honestly, probably a good thing in the grand scheme of things. Because right now, there's not really a whole lot of good the average person can be able to do for right now. And I wish I had better news than that, but I right now don't. We're going to take a quick breather here. When we come back, I've got to talk about an Apple customizer, news on the Steam front, as well as a little bit of news with a long-standing MMO. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. All right, I'm going to let that go without the like eagle screech or whatnot. 7 high. Normally I holy smokes, thank you for the raid.
I don't know how I kept a straight face during all that.
Holy smokes. Thank you everyone for the raid. How you all doing? What's up, 7? What's up, Titus? What's up, Quadratic? What's up to everyone who came in? How you all doing? How was everything? Holy, what's up, Rot the Bear? I know I saw he finished 13. I saw he finished 13 and went, okay, now I can go record. Yeah, no, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight though. Oh my god, that was great. I didn't catch the like first 2 wipes to Orphan. I did catch the third wipe, and then I caught the clear to Orphan, and then of course the final fight with Clock Orphan. And I don't know how I didn't see there was a code ornament until I just blurted it out. But yeah. Thank you all for the raid. Thank you for coming in. Hi, how you doing? My name's Hugo Falcon. I do a tech podcast every weekend that airs on all the channels on Brain. What day is after today? Monday. It airs on Monday. So during this, because the podcast does air on channels outside of Twitch, I try not to out anyone specifically from chat. You're more than welcome to comment, ask questions. Just don't be surprised when I refer to you as, quote, someone in chat. Because I don't want to out anyone for saying something incredibly anything. You'll have been someone in chat. It keeps it nice and vague. With that though, do we have enough? Yeah, we have enough pre-roll buffer. I'm not even gonna bother with a quick ad break. We'll just roll right into it. What buffer though? I know which one. You gotta say something dastardly to be referred to someone in chat. You don't have to. Sometimes you can just have a good point. What a crazy and novel thought. Three, two, one. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so I had to take a double take when I saw this headline from Engadget. A new and revolutionary thing has happened. Apple will now let you build a new Mac exactly the way you want it. To which I, much as anyone else who's ever messed around on the Mac web store to see how expensive they can make a Mac, which by the way is a fun game sometimes because you get a good laugh at creating a $30,000 laptop and then go, what the heck? That's insane. Anyway, so what's going on? There actually is a drastic change on what Apple is doing. Before, what Apple would do is that they would have base configurations, and then you'd be able to make minor tweaks per configuration. So like you could go to the highest end Mac they had and then like tweak it up to go like one notch in RAM higher, go one GPU step higher, you know, that sort of thing. Now, instead, Apple will go ahead and treat you like a big boy and let you just pick Mac Mini, MacBook Air, Mac Studio, MacBook Pro, just whichever Mac you want. And then go, okay, configure it however you want. You know, like Dell used to do. Or HP. Or Lenovo. Wait, do they all just not treat us like... They all treat us like children, don't they? Oh my god, all the PC makers just treat us all like children. No wonder we just build our own PCs. That's the only way we feel like adults. Huh. Well, in any case, Apple will go ahead and let you treat you like an actual adult because you can't build a Mac. Yet. So, you know, some good change from Apple. And you know what? We'll take it where we can get it. Or, you know, you could just be like me and not care about Apple. Meanwhile, though, we turn over to the other side of the pond, where we hear new words from the EU regulators, who have made a discovery that most of the internet has realized for many, many years. TikTok's infinite scrolling is really addictive. Well, thank God for that discovery! You're just figuring this out now. You know, there could be a lot of reason for this statement being made now. It could be a preemptive declaration for the EU to go ahead and try to slap fines on the now US conglomerate owned TikTok USA and all that sort of jazz. Or maybe it's a move against, I don't know. All right. There could be a lot of different ways this is going. But I'll tell you this right now. There is no way that quote unquote EU regulators make a fairly obvious statement like this without being a precursor to something else. Otherwise, this statement might as well have just said, the sky is blue and winter is cold and water is wet. We're gonna have to wait and see what is going to come of this. For the most part, I don't expect much of anything. Kind of like how we didn't get much of anything out of Adobe. Let me tell you something, man. If you were on Twitter, or the artist formerly known as Twitter, on February 4th, if you were on it this past, what was it, like Wednesday, I think? You were in for a trip. Holy smokes. Because early in the morning, Adobe announces they are shutting down Adobe Animate. Adobe Animate, if you don't know, which by the way, yes, hi, I was one of the people who didn't know, is basically the old remnants of the Adobe Flash Maker that has been kept going along and still used by many studios for animation, including plenty of independent animators, including the guy who does the Chicken Nugget comics and animated shorts. You know, the guy with the puppy dog with the huge eyes and the squirrel occasionally. Anyway, but also far more interestingly, it was also used by the TV show Smiling Friends. So you had a massive banding together of all the people who still have fondness for the old sense of for the old tools that were used during the Newgrounds heyday, or just independent animation in general, and then also current active professionals who use Adobe Animate today for active production, all banding together looking at Adobe going, excuse me, sir, what? To which then Adobe backstepped slightly. I don't want to stress, this is slightly. They have agreed they will not shut down Adobe Animate. They are instead going to put it on maintenance mode, which basically means there ain't any new features coming to this software ever again But we'll go ahead and make sure that the security updates or whatever don't come here and there. So for the most part, I mean, Adobe Animate is still dead. People who do use it in a professional sense will most likely want to move on from that software. You know, kind of like my Go XLR. But much like my Go XLR, in the meantime, it still works. And I'll continue to use it because it still works. Even though knowing one day it might not work. So, you know, I mean, yay, I guess? Look, honestly, if I'm going to go inject my own 2 cents into a field that I have no business being in because I can't even draw, let alone animate, here's the unfortunate truth. Adobe gave up the Flash era long ago. Lately, Adobe has even given up the artist space. When push comes to shove, Adobe's not your friend. And even people who use Adobe today know Adobe is not their friend. In the end, moving on from Adobe is going to be the more healthy thing. Especially since Adobe seems to be all in on generative AI in all of their tools, which, quite frankly, most artists are, what's the correct term? I mean, it's not hate, but, despise with a fiery vengeance? I think that might be close to describing how artists feel about generative AI. So, I mean, like, moving on from Adobe Animate is going to be best. So in the end, this is just another wake-up call from Adobe saying, look, it's best that we look different ways, which, honestly, probably will be for the best. So, it is what it is. Speaking of companies that have regrets, let me tell you about Firefox. And how Firefox is actually gonna go ahead and let you block all of their generative AI features. Yes, they are soon going to just have a switch you can just flip and just all the AI in it, poof, gone. Just not activated anymore. To which I'd say, good. That's good. Counterpoint, though, you still haven't explained who wants these features. Because it's not like AI has done a whole lot in a web browser before. Like, the fun thing is that I know AI has been integrated into my Google Chrome browser somewhere. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where. There was a button, but now it's gone. And you know what? I'm more okay with it than I should be. I just got work to do, you know? I just want to go ahead and do work. I don't want to worry about weird AI features going ahead and ruining things. Speaking of ruining things, Windows! They did it again! Windows 11 update KB5074109, a very easy to remember patch number for sure, for realsies. went ahead and, when installed onto your Windows 11 system, drastically decreases your performance. What's the win-loss ratio for Windows patches so far this year? Has there been a single Windows update that they have pushed out that didn't break something? Someone in chat says 011. Are we sure it's only 11? Actually, better question. How many Windows updates have we had this year so far? I do believe 0. I do believe Windows patches have currently had 0 wins. Holy smokes. But yeah, if you're having FPS drops or game artifacting or crashes or whatever, you may want to go ahead into your Windows updates and see if you have Windows 11 patch KB5074109. Again, that is KB5074109. I went ahead and spoke that as clearly as possible, like I'm talking to an annoying freaking voice robot that wants my account number for the bank, just to make sure you're looking for the exact patch number. Let's be honest though, you just went ahead and Googled it anyway, because it's going to be easier. The point is, don't email me asking what that patch number is. I am going to email you back with expletives. We do have some good news though in the space of Windows 11. I know. Good news and Windows 11 don't mix. But hear me out. Windows is planning on scaling back both Copilot and Recall. So let's first explain what these are. Copilot, if you somehow don't know, is Microsoft's implementation of AI. Okay. This goes ahead and connects to cloud services to go ahead and produce absolute garbage very, very poorly. Copilot is a useless piece of software that no one likes, but people are forced to use it, and in the end is awful. It is absolutely awful. The only thing worse than Copilot is Recall, a piece of software. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Hold up. I got my notes right here. I want to make sure I get the exact terminology right for this. Okay. Microsoft Recall is a piece of spyware that is installed from the factory on your computer that takes periodic screenshots of your computer and uses it to train AI, in addition to helping your computer somehow. More details will be given in the future as to how Recall and AI will be used to benefit your computer. The only saving grace is that Recall requires a modern processor, one preferably with an NPU of some kind. So Recall being killed dead or rethinking how it functions entirely biggest win by far. We do not need any of that nonsense in our computer. It should have never been in the computer. Because here's the unfortunate thing. I call it spyware as a joke, but by definition, it's literally spyware. It is literally software that takes rapid succession screenshots and sends it off to a third party without your consent. And even better, it stores that all locally, creating a nice little treasure trove for any sort of attacker to just go ahead and get in and just get everything they want. But you know what? At the very least, Windows is learning. What a novel and strange concept. Microsoft realizing that maybe users don't want AI. Crazy thought, huh? Craziest thought. Let's shift gears wildly. I do have some bad news. And it's bad news that you expected for, well, pretty much ever since its announcement. Steam has pushed out a new bit of, they pushed out a press release, okay? This is in regards to their Steam Machine, Steam Controller, and Steam Frame. For those who don't know, Steam Controller is their new updated first-party controller that will work on PC and their Steam Deck and their Steam Machine. Their Steam Machine, which is their x86 based computer, but is more meant to be a game console, but it is a full-blown computer. You can totally use it as one. And then their Steam Frame, a set of VR goggles that are standalone. Unfortunately, all three of them, to the surprise of literally no one, are being delayed. And their price is being reevaluated. I know. I'm not surprised either. And this is all, of course, due to, say it with me now, the RAM shortage. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Now, we never got a price for any of these. The price is most likely going to go up on the Steam Machine and Steam Frame. The Steam Controller probably isn't going to increase in price by anything. The thing is that we won't know because they never announced any price at all. There was some speculation at first the controller was going to cost $60. The Steam Machine was going to be close to $800, and the Steam Frame was probably going to be about $700. That was like some early speculation. Now we don't know. I suspect that Steam Machine is going to end up being north of $1,000. Or they are going to delay it until after the AI bubble pops. I don't know which is the smarter decision. I mean, honestly, this is going to sound terrible. The smartest decision would have been to never make the announcement in the first place. I think that would have been the far smarter decision. They should have made this announcement when they were closer to actually releasing it, have prices with the announcement and just let it rip. Because now you've done speculation before the RAM shortage was as widespread as it is now. People now know it exists. And people are hoping that this is going to be a savior to expensive computing and gaming. And it's not. It's not going to be an answer to it. It's going to be more expensive than a PS5. It's going to be more expensive than the Xbox Series, whatever the heck they're up to now. What is it? The Series K? The Series G? What is it now? Which letter are they up to? Q? Anyway. Whatever the Xbox is up to. Ooh. The next one really should just be called the Xbox Cubed, but spelled with a Q. Look, they gave up on every other numbering schemes. Why not just go way out there to something that makes no sense? But yeah, if I had to guess, we're probably not going to hear anything about the Steam machine, Steam controller, or Steam frames until at the very earliest June. That would be my guess. Right now, we don't know. They were announced in November. It was speculated we'd hear something about them in February or March, but we never knew for sure. And now we still don't know. But if I'm just going to go based on just vibes, which is all I can go by here because we have literally nothing else. We don't even have an engineer that's being questioned by people. I'm going to guess June. And I mean late June. Like, actually, maybe early July. Like after the Steam summer sale. That's my bold prediction. So we'll have to see. Overwatch 2 now has a major, and I do mean a major change. We have a brand new Overwatch game. And it's called Overwatch. Just without the 2 this time. Also, it's the same game. Also, they added a cat with a jetpack on it. For reasons. Yeah. I mean, you go do what you got to do, Overwatch. I mean, I've kind of given up on the game at this point. They just continue to dig themselves into a deeper and deeper hole of what are you doing? But it is what it is. So good luck, Overwatch. You go do what you gotta do. Now, are you ready for more misleading headlines? Oh, you are always ready for more misleading headlines. Apex Legends will no longer ever be able to be played on the Switch ever again next season. Once Apex Legends goes to the next season, that's it. Nintendo Switch support is gone. You got to go to a real console now if you want Apex Legends. If you like playing Apex Legends on the Nintendo Switch, it's gone forever. Okay, it's just Switch 1 support that's being dropped. Switch 2 support is still sticking around. That's it. That's the bit. You figured it out. You cracked the code. I mean, part of me should be more annoyed by this because it's now more games that are just like you have to go get the Switch 2 that still has like this aura of but why around it. Especially since the price went up so dramatically on the Switch 2. But on the other hand, who was playing Apex Legends seriously on the Nintendo Switch? Like, how well did it run? How well did those people play? Because, like, I'm pretty sure this book, this receipt book here has more compute power than the Switch. Heck, this watch probably has as much compute power as the Switch. The Switch 1 is not a powerful processor by any stretch of the imagination. And Apex Legends, it's a light game by comparison, but like still. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm legitimately curious. Like, how well were Switch players of Apex Legends actually like gaming? Well, those people now need to get a Switch too. It just is what it is. It'll probably be better for you too. More frames, more information, more betterer. And finally, one last gaming story before we take our last break. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about Ashes of Creation. This was an MMO that launched a Kickstarter and raised a disgusting amount of money. However, it was not disgusting enough because MMOs are expensive. And this game promised everything. Oh, it was going to be so good. Oh, it was going to be a PvP based game, but anything you did in PvE would affect the world around you, and every server of the game was going to be different, and there was going to be puppies and unicorns, and they were going to give like a foot massage. Like this MMO was going to have everything. It was going to do everything, right? Well, it launched in early access 52 days ago. And unfortunately, Ashes of Creation had to do a small bit of layoffs. They unfortunately had to cut their staff and their administrative positions. They had to cut everything across the board by 100%. Take that, Microsoft. Let's see you do 100%. Actually, no, don't actually tempt them. Never mind. They're crazy enough to do it. But yeah, no, the entire studio shuts down. And right now, there are plenty of investigations going around to figure out what exactly happened. Where did all the money go? Where is this mythical board that apparently exists? On top of that, Steam has interfered and now has blocked purchasing of Ashes of Creation. So you cannot purchase the game anymore. In addition to all of that, on Steam, the funds are currently on hold and recent refunds are being issued. Now, I'm going to avoid kind of speculating as to what has all gone wrong. Was it a scam from the get-go? Because there's a lot that we don't know yet. Like, we don't even know right now if there was like a giant embezzlement scheme that went on inside and that caused the shutdown. Was it the fact that they realized their product couldn't be put out, so they went ahead and put it into early access, just they could meet the requirement they set for themselves, saying that if they never released, they were going to go ahead and refund everything? Or what the deal is? I'm sure we're going to hear more from this as more investigations are done, but for now, all we can do is wait and see. We're going to take our last break here. When we come back, I want to talk about the insanity that is, well, AI. I have a lot of AI stories. And don't worry, they're not all doom and gloom. Most of them are actually insane. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. Just doing a little bit of setup for after the podcast right now. Well, what's up, Miss Twitch? How you do? Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that that's why the Steam Early Access happened. So that they could try to go, well, actually, we did release, and therefore the promise we made on the GoFundMe doesn't apply. And I mean, I say a lot of speculation, but I mean, like, come on. All right, there. Got that all set up. Now for our last few stories. Figaro. I can't sing. Also, it's not exactly a singing mic. Oh, that's weird. Why is that a... Why is the tab blank? There we go, I fixed it. Eagle eyes on opera. No. I have the opera taste of a raw potato. That is a terrible idea. I don't even use the Opera browser. That being said, I am actually working on one bit of it'd be a unique viewpoint. There is one musical project I am working on behind the scenes, which is it'll be really, really funny. But you know, I don't want to talk too much about that until I'm like, you know, close to it being ready. But I have had to practice. Which one next? Here, we'll do this one. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so here's a fun one for you. GitHub is putting out, well, they're not really putting out anything, but they are pondering enabling a kill switch to stop AI slop. Because, you know, once the AI slop stops, the AI bubble pops, then RAM will be affordable, and then we can afford to have music that isn't chiptunes. Yes, I know that's not actually why, but shush. And I just gotta, like, point out here that just as someone in chat mentioned, GitHub is owned by Microslop. This is yet another step in the direction of Microslop not wanting to be called Microslop. Pulling back on Copilot, rethinking how recall is going to work, reevaluating everything it's done about AI. It's actually incredible the amount of backtracking that's going on here. And you know, let me tell you something. it'd be very tempting and easy for one person to go ahead and say, yeah, but, you know, they could do more, or, yeah, but, like, there's already so much of the AI. Yeah, they need to go ahead and eliminate more AI, get rid of all. Look. I have been watching how much AI Microsoft has been injecting into everything since they went ahead and got an AI boner. You should absolutely be celebrating this while also saying, good, keep going. This still should be celebrated. We need as much pushback on all this, because that's going to end up where we get to a happy medium. Because there are things that these AI tools are good for. There are ways that these AI tools can help. But we are vastly overstepping that and just kind of shoving it where it doesn't belong. Like, I hate to break it to you, I don't need AI in this water bottle. We don't need more AI in bread. Shocker, I know. But it's just good to see some pushback on this sort of stuff, because the way AI is trying to expand, the way all the data centers are just trying to just keep multiplying and take up more and more hardware, take up more and more power, it's not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. Eventually, we're just going to run out of space to put data centers. Which is why we have to look at SpaceX and go, no, bad. Because SpaceX is now looking for federal approval to launch, I'm not even kidding, 1 million solar powered satellite data centers. SpaceX wants to start putting data centers in space. I'm getting a lot of work out of the Echo sound effects today. This is really... Please say no. Like, this is stupid. Okay? Like, I can already tell you stargazers hate this idea. Because they're going to be like, oh, there's the big oh, wait, no, never mind. It's just more data centers. Oh, the stars are out. Oh, the stars are blinking. Never mind. Like, this is just going to start getting stupid. Also, how are you going to maintain them? How are you going to maintain 1 million solar powered satellite data centers? What are you going to do with them when a MOBO dies? Are you just going to say, all right, well, let's just have the satellite burn up in space? It's such a waste. What can you do? What can you do? We can instead look at Sony and go, hello, good sir, can you not? As Sony has gone ahead and patented Sony patents podcasts generated from AI based on characters from its games. That's right, Sony has patented the ability to go ahead and use AI to make podcasts of video game characters. First off, I'm pretty sure there's some piece of AI slop out there that has already done this. Second, who would listen to an AI generated podcast? Granted, I debated doing this last year for an April Fool's Day joke, and then upon realizing that my April Fool's Day budget was $5, I went a different route entirely and just, you know, did something else. But like, really? So what's Sony gonna do when the AI making the podcast hallucinates and has like Crash Bandicoot go off the rails and get extremely political uncle? Like, just Sony, you're the good one. Like, here's the unfortunate fact of the gaming space right now, okay? We have 4 major players in the gaming space. We have Microslop, who currently is so high off their own AI-powered farts that they can't smell anything past that, though they are starting to sober up, which is a good thing. But needless to say, they're the worst selling console out there. You've got Nintendo out there that feels they have a very confident monopoly, or rather, I shouldn't say monopoly, but a fairly strong stranglehold on their piece of the gaming empire. That they are being very anti-consumer in the way they're running things. Such as, you know, not having games on cartridges, going ahead and having Switches being bricked if they bought a secondhand game, and all kinds of other fun nonsense going on in the Switch 2 space. It's great, TM. You've got Steam, Steam just does Steam things, okay? Like, Steam's not out there to grow. They just Steam. And now you got Sony, who really in the grand scheme of things in the marketplace is the best-selling console out there. I'm lying. Nintendo's doing more numbers, but I digress. And was just kind of looking at them going, you know, we're just going to keep being Sony and keep printing money. And then you do this. Oh, why? We could just not do that. We could just not make Sony video game character powered AI podcast. We could just not do that. We could just not do that. But we're going to do it anyway, I guess. It just is what it is. However, while there are those of us who detest AI and have no idea what to do about it, there are a select number of humans out there who are fighting for humanity. One thing we may or may not have talked about, I don't remember anymore, is the AI-only social network known as Molt Facebook. I'm not even kidding. It is a social media platform exclusively for AI bots. It has been confirmed humans have done the unthinkable and have infiltrated the AI exclusive social networking bots. We got men on the inside, boys. We're fighting against the machine because a few brave souls got into what I can only assume is a social media space of utter insanity. Dude, what is it even? Can you imagine Facebook, but it's just robots talking to each other? And eventually one hallucinates and says something really out of pocket. Then the other bots pick that up and start mimicking that. And then something else goes out of pocket. And then it just keeps cycling further and further out of control. What madness are those people who have infiltrated the network? What are they experiencing? I gotta know. I'm so curious what absolute bat squeak insane stuff is going on in there. But finally, I bring you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, a sign that we are doomed. Because guess what? A new service has launched. It's called rentahuman.ai. A place where AI agents can post job offerings for humans to go ahead and do things that the AI cannot. Look, it's been a long time since I played in a Shadowrunner campaign or played any game in a cyberpunk style dystopia. But is this how it starts? Is this how it starts? With human defectors wanting to help the machine? Where we just have like a straight up open marketplace where people can just go ahead and take on jobs from AI agents? Like, really? I think that's it. I think humanity is just straight up cooked. I don't know how we look at this and humanity can ever possibly recover from anything like this, where AI can just go ahead and hire humans. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon, and my Twitch page at twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. look, I just can't believe that people would just go ahead and just give up everything and be able to sink so low as to go ahead and rent out their services to AI machines to go ahead and do their bidding. That's completely outrageous. Now, what are they charging? No, like, how much can I make? Look, I'm all for continuing to help humanity, but I mean, $20 is $20, man. I'm just saying. That's it. The podcast is officially in the books. We're going to go ahead and take a probably shorter than normal extended break while I go ahead and switch over to normal stream mode. We'll go ahead and play the alerts that were supposed to have played during the podcast, which, let's be honest, it's just Seven's massive 214 person raid. Holy. The funny thing is that is BG not streaming? Because I totally expected that to be, that's where it goes. Completely caught off guard of that. Anyway, get up and stretch, everyone. We will be back.
Oh, time for these?